Dun, dun, dun.
It's story time with Dina.
All right, 16 years old. Dun, dun, dun.
So she's already a junior in college at this point.
Yeah, actually, I was finishing up my first degree at this point because I doubled up on classes. What? So I had met this friend, and we'll call her Christine. She was in one of my classes, and we planned like a little study date or whatever at her farm. And I showed up at her house, and we studied for a couple hours, and then she was like, hey, I'm gonna have a couple friends come over. And I was like, alright, sounds like fun. Like, I'm 16. I don't know that this should be a warning sign that something is about to happen.
I'm a rebel.
I had a shirt that said rebel, actually. Okay. Anyway.
Of course you did, Dina.
So, her friends show up, and like they're all on motorcycles, but it's fine. I don't really care. Like, why should I care? They drive motorcycles. That's pretty freaking cool for them. Like, motorcycles are fun. I've never been on one. Until one night I was like, hey, Ma, I'm gonna go hang out at my friend Christine's house. And my dad was really pissed off because he was like, no 16-year-old should be out after dark. Like, what are you doing? And totally solid
like good
advice,
sense.
But yeah, totally legit. But I still convinced him that I could go. So I went, and I was going to spend the night at her house because they were having a party. And, well, a party. It was just like a get-together, but it's fine. And this is the moment that I realized that I had fucked up. So it's been several months that we've all been hanging out. I go on rides on their bikes. Like, we're having a good time. We're all just hanging out. We go bowling sometimes, you know? They saved me from my crappy ex-boyfriend. Yeah. Totally, yeah. Nothing weird is happening other than I know a couple of them are drug dealers, but I don't care. I don't judge. Yeah, that night that I went to go spend the night at her house, I took a nap in her bedroom because we were all going to go out for a late night ride. And then she woke me up, and we all went out for a ride, and we were all going down these like back roads or whatever, and they were like, stay low, and I'm on the back of somebody's bike, and then all of a sudden he goes, stay low, and I was like, what does stay low mean on the back of a bike? Like, what do you mean stay low? And then there was lots of loud pops, we'll say, but it was definitely gunfire. There was definitely gunfire. I hear somebody go, oh my god, wait, I gotta come up with a name. Oh my
Fernando.
god. Where's Fernando? So somebody dropped off. We don't know where Fernando is. I'm just like, oh my god, get me off this bike. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I'm gonna die.
It was just firecrackers, Dina. It was just firecrackers, okay? It was just firecrackers.
No, it's totally fine. It's totally
like 4th of July.
Yeah, it's just, yeah,
Stay
exactly.
low, it's firecrackers.
It's the newest dance craze.
So they were like, oh my god, like, Fernando's gone. Somebody's got to go back and find him. And the guy that I was on the bike with was like, I'll go. And I was like, no, we fucking won't. No, we will not. Get me off this bike. I don't care. Like, just get me back to Christine's house. I don't care. So he took me back, thankfully. We didn't go looking for Fernando. But the next morning, after I went to bed, with a knife under my pillow because I realized what kind of fucked up shit I had gotten in.
Fuck.
Yeah, nobody found Fernando. After that, when Fernando went missing the next morning and everybody was just kind of like, we're not going to talk about it, I was like, no, shouldn't we call somebody? And they were like, no, we don't talk about it. I was like, oh, I know what this is. So I never talked to anybody again. They called me a couple times and they were like, hey, you want to hang out? And I was like, no. And they were like, but we're going for a ride. Like, it's the crew. The crew's going for a ride. And I was like, so I changed my phone number and I quit my job. Not because of that, it just so happened that it coincided, but still, like, I totally ghosted them. So if you guys ever see this, I'm sorry, but I'm not like that. Thank you.
And this is about the time that I met girl codenamed Horse Girl. So, in my younger days back in college, I, way before I met my beautiful and lovely wife,
Long ago.
it is freshman year in college, and young Daniel, who still thinks that he has game and hasn't been dissuaded of this notion yet, is walking around in the dorms during winter break when no one's there. I had just moved to this town. This is my first week on campus in the dorms. I don't know anyone. I have no friends. I don't do anything. I see, a cute girl. And even though I've got a laptop in my room, I walk in there and I start checking my email. Which then leads to conversation. Which then leads to us going like, hey, you want to like hang out? Go on like a first date? And the fact that this girl agreed on the spot that same day to go out on a first date with someone like me just tells you already all we need to know about her judgment and decision-making skills, which is that they're terrible. We go out on a date, and she's like a little spastic. Like, she's like a cheerleader on crack this whole date, which is crazy because I'm a talker. I'm like a giant energetic ball of madness, and the fact that she's not only like met my energy, but has exceeded it, should let you know the level that we're at currently, right? I know how to solve this riddle. Are you ready? I'm gonna make out with her.
That'll fix it. That'll shut her up.
Yeah, you would think so. I was wrong.
Yeah, 100%
in the middle of
wrong. Why would that shut her up?
I was dumb. I didn't know any better. So, we're making out and like in the middle of it, she like pulls away. She's like, "What's your favorite color?" I'm like, "We're doing more important things right now." Yeah, I'm like, "Okay, I'm done. I'm done. But I'm too nice. So, like, I don't know how to, like, reject a girl. I've never needed to reject a girl. I'm usually the one being rejected. And so, in my brain, I'm like, all right, hey, so I've got work in the morning. I don't have a job yet. I'm gonna go, like, take a shower. It's, like, 6 o'clock in the evening, okay? And so, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna hop in the shower, and she's gonna take it as, like, the cue to, like, leave.
She's gonna hop in that shower. Okay.
She went and hopped in the damn shower. And this would never be this would never be a problem. Like having an unsolicited girl hop in your shower would be normally like the thing that you're like, her hygiene left a lot to be desired.
Oh no.
We're talking like 1970s thick, fully covered rug of just, oh god.
He said rug.
I'm like, okay, well, the shower didn't work, so I'm gonna just get out of this shower. We're gonna be like, but gentlemen, baby, I don't like doing stuff like this on a first date. I'm totally not.
Liar!
And so like, I'm like, all right, fuck, all right. So I get out of the shower, like, clothed back up, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I gotta be up and work, like, super early in the morning, like 6 a.m., I swear. And she's like, oh, okay, well, let me just check my email. And I'm like, okay. She's gonna check her email, and she'll just get on out of here. She's got the laptop in the room. And then she just starts giving me the play-by-play of everything she's doing on my computer at that moment. She's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm just checking this. Yeah. And then she goes, I'm checking my role-playing board really quick. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. and I'm like, all right, maybe she's into like Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe she's into like, just magical stuff. And I'm like, hey, I'm a nerd. Like, that's cool. Like, maybe my opinion's turning around. She goes, actually, I'm role playing as a horse. I like to role play as horses. I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, I like to sometimes roleplay as like a foal and like, because it's more fun and it's more liberating. I'm like, oh god, you're fucking insane.
Oh. Okay. So, Daniel knows from reading my book that my mother is a character, to say the least. She listened to nothing but country music when I was growing up, so I have, nothing but childhood country music experiences. And she was absolutely obsessed with Travis Tritt, thought just legitimately he was her soulmate. So she found out where he lived, and at the time, I think he had a house in Georgia. And so I was 8. My sister was 6. She woke us up like 2-something in the morning, and she had her friend with her who was much younger than herself. And they said, come on, let's get in the car. We've got somewhere to go. And it's not abnormal for my mother to have woken us up at like 3, 2 in the morning all the time.
Wow.
This is not an abnormal thing. Yeah, not an abnormal thing. And we pile into the car. She drives us out to what feels like the middle of nowhere until we come to this like large estate with these huge like brick fence just all around it. It's like legit. There's like an iron gate, everything. And oh my God, she gets out of the car. We still haven't been told why we're there. So me and my sister are in the back seat, just not understanding at all where we are or why we're here. And she gets out with her friend and she says, shit, we're here. Where's the dog?
What do you guys have to do with the dog at Travis Tritt's house?
What? Yeah, we were just like, wait, what about a dog? And so I finally I get out of the car and I asked my mom what's going on, and she said, well, we're here because there's a dog over there and I want to get him, because if I get him, I can say that I found him and put found posters and I can meet Travis Tritt. And so I freaked out because I was like, we're at Travis Tritt's house. There's got to be security or something somewhere. Any minute, we're going to get caught. Yeah, and her and her friend are standing at the gate trying to call this dog as if it's probably outside wandering around at 3 a.m. Yeah, they keep going for about an hour, walking along the fence, like this wall, the brick wall. They keep walking along, trying to call it from like different places. And eventually we hear something like on the other side of the fence, but it doesn't sound like an animal. It sounds like we're about to get in trouble.
Oh no.
And then I hear, shit, get in the car. We've got to go.
Yes! That's my
yeah,
favorite
I jump
line.
in the back seat. My sister, who has never left the car, she just stares at me like, are we going home now? I'm like, yeah, we're going home. And my mother, she just sprints to the car. Her friend gets in after my mother has already started the car, and they just speed off. It never happens for my mother, and she spent years after that trying to figure out how to get this dog and never got this dog. And then she even said, well, what about Alan Jackson? You know where he lives? Let's see.
After my wife and I got married, we sold everything we owned that did not fit into the back of a 2005 Toyota Prius, and we we went to Europe for 3 months. And this was not a luxurious European vacation in Ibiza and the grand hotels of Paris. We were staying in literal hostels with 17-year-olds who were beer bonging in Bentleys in the bunks below us. And all I had was a giant backpack of clothes and my laptop. I had written my first book, which, as you know, was a colossal dumpster fire of the Dungeons and Dragons.
Huge success. Is what you meant to say.
Yeah.
God, I want it.
And I was banking on doing short stories while we were traveling because they're easy to do on trains, etc. while you're traveling places. And so I had written a few in the 3 months. I think I'd written 5 or 7. And I was submitting them to magazines when we were in spots that had Wi-Fi, to, I will say, resounding silence, much like most of my efforts in the writing world. Thank you, universe.
One of
Appreciate
us.
that. And yeah, right? Yeah, it sucks. Anyway, so we were in Prague staying. This was it was a big deal because we were staying in the only Airbnb we had the whole trip. And we were very excited to not share bunk beds with 17-year-olds doing beers, Bentleys, and beer bongs beneath us. But it was it wasn't the best Airbnb. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't 5 stars super host. It was 3 stars is a host. So I woke up one morning and I checked my laptop because we had the internet because we were in an Airbnb, and I saw an acceptance for one of the short stories that I wrote to a major magazine in the U.S. And it was, I'm not obviously going to say the magazine because this is not a success story. So what is I frantically Googled, like, okay, what do you do next? Like, what's the next step? And what you're supposed to do is reach out and tell everybody else you submitted to, hey, I've got this acceptance, and you give them the option to either essentially make you a better offer or pass. So while I was doing this Googling, I was like furiously excited. I had never, ever got an acceptance before. This was my very first, we like your writing, we want to do something with it. And so I was talking with my wife, and God bless this woman. She sat down and we did the math, and we realized that, like, if she skipped breakfast and I skipped dinner, we could afford 2 beers to drink in celebration of this thing that happened. And she doesn't like beer, so I got 2 beers. And they were Czech beers, and they were delicious, and I drank them very quickly. Yeah, so I sent off my emails to all of the other magazines that I applied to, blah, 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 saying, like, sorry, gonna have to pull my short stories. I've received an offer elsewhere. The rest of the night is a Pilsner-induced haze. And the next morning, I woke up, checked my email, and I only had one answer. And it was from a very important editor who said, I'm really sorry to hear that. I understand. Have a great day. And you can imagine my surprise when I checked the signature of this editor and saw that it was from the magazine that I had been accepted to.
No!
And at first I was curious, and I went through my sent emails, and then I was horrified to learn that in my tipsy celebration, I had mixed up my email addresses and sent the wrong email to the wrong editor and formally withdrawn my short story from the magazine that accepted it.
Anyway, so
Okay, so tell us about Sing Pickle.
Sing Pickle. I had replaced someone when I got there, which I didn't know I was doing, but I came and they were like, "You're out, dude." So
did you have to see this dude get bounced?
I saw him the day of my interview, and they were like, "This is Shannon." They didn't say your replacement, but that's what I was. And he was like,
Oh
"Hey."
my god!
I just imagine him
He's like,
walking out like with a toolbox, like and a scowl, staring you down as he walks out the door.
Okay, well, this guy, so the shop has an attached apartment. This guy lived in the attached apartment at the shop. So they booted him out. Like, he lost his home that day.
He got evicted too?
Oh my God,
Lose your
Shannon.
job and your house in the same day? Jesus, Shannon.
Yeah. This guy, he had left a jar of pickles in the mini fridge inside the shop. And it was,
I mean, that's
guess
where
it was
everyone does.
empty.
It's better than eyeballs.
I guess it was empty or almost empty. I don't know, but my coworker like drained out the pickle juice so we could just toss it in the trash can. And a little end of pickle fell out of the jar.
The tip, Shannon. Use the
Just
correct
the tip.
terminology,
Just the
please.
tip.
It was just the
Yeah.
tip.
Yeah.
And landed in the sink. And because my coworker doesn't give a shit about anything, he just left it. And it's been there for 3 years.
3 years. Like, has
It's
anyone else
right
commented
there.
on it? Are you
No,
the only
no,
one
that
that's...
is the funniest thing about it is no one has said, "Hey man, there's been a pickle in the sink for 3 years." It never comes up. Ever.
Okay, are we sure it's actually there? Is this not?
I sent you a video. It's there.
You did. You did.
Yeah.
The real hero of the story was the guy that got kicked out of his apartment because it was his sink pickle. So he lost a lot that day. He lost his pickle, he lost his home, and he lost his job.
The prophet of the sink pickle gave up
Yeah.
everything he had for the
Wait,
sink pickle.